Oh my goodness, scorekeepers. It is that time again. It is time for your favorite podcast, The Score, where we talk about art and culture through our Black queer lenses. As always, I am your co-host, Rocky Jones, and I am here with my two favorite people in the world. First of all, we have the incredible, the intelligent, the indomitable Dr. Lee Bynum. Hello, Dr. Lee Bynum. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing?
Oh, I don't think you're supposed to lead shows with saying you're a little exhausted, but it's been a week.
I mean, I think you can lead the show with it if it's your show.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, I feel like it doesn't inspire confidence. Like, on like all those drag race challenges where they'll be like, I'm nervous. And they're like, you're not supposed to say you're nervous. Pretend you're not nervous. You stupid bitch.
Well, I didn't say that you wouldn't be lip syncing for your life before the end of this episode,
Okay.
but
All right. Well, I guess I have to get the energy up so I can. I have to go listen to my music. I just wanna be your. And that giggle you heard in the background is our wonderful other co-host, the marvelous, the masterful, the moisturized Paige Reynolds. Hello, Paige. How are you?
Hello, I am well. Happy spring, y'all.
Yes, indeed.
Yes? Question mark?
Oh, is this a Minnesota moment? Because it is spring has sprung in New York.
Has it really?
It really has. We have had a series of gorgeous, slightly too cold days, but they've been gorgeous. And by slightly too cold, like low 50s, but that's springtime weather. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's been much the same here. There was the threat of a blizzard last Wednesday, but it just skated right on
Mm.
by us to the south. Um, but I just don't trust it.
And you should not.
I don't trust it.
It's
You
true.
should not. I mean, I remember Minnesota and the ways that it refused to let go of winter. It's like, nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. Not until May.
I mean, it's true. We can't get too hopeful, but I don't know. Global warming seems to be changing the weather pattern.
That is true.
There's that. Plus, I don't know. When the spring equinox comes, I just feel a spring energy.
Mm, mhm.
Something shifts. I feel just a little bit more uplifted, and the days are slowly getting longer and longer. That's making me feel better. So I'm trying to embrace the little things.
You know it, absolutely. With the world in tatters at
Exactly.
the moment, you
Exactly.
you really have to turn to nature,
You
turn to
understand.
yes, turn to community. And it's absolutely true. I was saying because you both know it's been a year
Yeah.
over here in
Mhm.
Rocky Land. And I don't know if it is like because we did have that 175-degree day, which was incredible a couple of weeks ago. And I was sitting in the kitchen, I was having a cup of coffee with Dennis, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the spring, maybe it's the sun, maybe it's the longer days. But I kind of am sort of a little bit feeling like myself again, sort of. So I mean, I guess that's good.
All right now. I love to hear that.
Sort of a facsimile, some version of myself that I kind of remember. So that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we'll take it.
spring.
We'll take
Uh-huh.
it. Speaking of people reverting back to their old ways, I think that's a perfect segue to get into these final two episodes
Oh
of Noah's
Oh,
God.
honey.
Ark.
God.
Oh my goodness.
Because
Yeah.
Oh,
Fucking Noah.
oh my holy fucking
what in
God.
the world?
All of them. And
All of
Ricky.
them.
I said all those
Ricky.
nice things
Y'all
about
sure
Ricky the
did.
last
I
time.
said all that nice
That's why I was
stuff.
laughing at y'all. I was like, oh, they don't even know what they're saying, but go ahead and say
You know what,
it.
Mr. Polk? I have a bone to pick with you because you had me and Paige out here looking stupid last week.
Mhm.
Listen, I was believing in transformation and second chances and all of the things, and
Just the
you just brought
power
it
of
crashing
love.
down.
The
And
power
now
of
that I've done
love.
started the movie, you just continue to dig the
Mhm.
knife in further. I,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
mad.
It's not right. It's just not right. And did the with for Eddie can get some smoke as well because
Oh, absolutely.
not not here for
Mhm.
him at all. And did the stalker just disappear? Does he come back in the movie? He Alex and
So,
Trey.
quite a few things. We at some point we should take a minute to unpack the transition from the end of the season to the movie and to the Rona Chronicles be, because of the ways that it may be a little haphazardly connected. Maybe that's a
Mm,
really fair way of putting that.
okay.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Rocky, if there are dangling storylines at the end of this eighth episode that you would like to know the resolution of, you should send a note to Patrick Ian Polk
Or I
because because a
or
few things go unresolved.
I see. Or I could just write them myself.
I mean, at this point, because it's been 20 years, and if we don't know what
Yes.
happened, then yeah, that's where we are.
Ooh, when they had those posters that said Beach Party 2006, I just, oh my God. I was just like, how old am I? Oh my
Quite,
God.
quite.
Antediluvian. Jesus Christ, Methuselah over here.
It did have like a very quaint kind of feel to quite a bit of it, right? Especially
Mhm.
at the ball
Hmm.
where the none of the fashions were giving,
Mm-mm.
but
Oh.
the fact
Mm-mm.
that there's been that kind of consistency in choreography for the last 20 years is kind of extraordinary because every single time somebody duck walked down that runway, it could have been today.
That is true.
I
That
Mhm.
mean,
is true.
I think somebody deserves their flowers for either some very forward-looking choreography or timeless choreography.
Well, and I think the people in 2006 would probably argue that it's no different than what was happening in the 80s.
Oh, I mean, I would
Mhm.
be one of those people, but I'm trying
Yes.
not to be the person who sounds old on this podcast.
Look, I think that's inescapable. We're talking about a show from 2006 when you and I were full adults.
Oh, fucking adults. But
Mhm.
also, before we like get deep into psychoanalyzing the behaviors, my big takeaway from the rewatch, my big takeaway was if you were in your 20s, you're still in that phase where so many life experiences are brand new. You
Hmm.
really are getting
Mhm.
into things for the first time. I had a lot more compassion for these characters and their choices this time around, even when I thought people were dead ass wrong, kind of like everybody on the last two episodes. But like, I kind of got it. That horrible scene with Noah and Wade in the bathroom, and they're like really struggling to get through that dialogue, you could kind of tell they didn't know what they were doing. Not the actors, the
Hmm.
characters. Like they had no
Yeah.
sense of what that moment was and what do you do when you are still very much in love with someone who is also still very much in love with you, but the issue is you are not in a functional relationship and neither of you know how neither of you has any clue how to handle one, right? And when I was watching that, I was like, okay, there is a term for that, and it's called being in your mid 20s.
Yeah.
Like none of this is strange. It is just Am I lying, Paige? I mean, maybe you can
You not
remember.
lying at
At
all. Not
all.
at all. Yeah, this is giving like pre-Saturn return energy, or you're in your Saturn
Oh my
return.
God.
This is Saturn return mess. I know it when I see it,
Mhm.
as someone who's made it out alive and and wiser.
I mean, it made me sort of realize there was this man that I was very much in love with right around 2006, actually.
Mhm.
And I had just completely just sort of erased that from my memory because I was like, I can't think of that. But yeah, no, it was very push-pull, the same sort of thing. He was out there making out with other boys, other
Hmm.
girls.
Hmm.
Man did not know what he wanted at
Hmm.
all.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
And I just kept on sort of pining after him, having these furtive exchanges at parties and things. Until finally I hit my Saturn return and I said, enough,
How about that?
Hmm.
How about that?
enough.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Well, I guess technically we were at a Halloween party and I was very drunk and I was dressed up as a baggie of Coke and then I saw him with his new girlfriend, question mark. And
Huh.
then he said, "Well, you're dressed as a bag of Coke. Do you want some?" And I said, "Are you a Coke dealer now?" And he shrugged.
Oh.
And then he was like, "Well, what's your new number? Let me give you my number and we can hang out." And I said, "Okay." This is all in front of the girlfriend. I gave him a fake number. He went to call it immediately, and I ran away as she was saying, "He gave you a fake number."
What?
So that's how that ended. But I consider it Saturn return, right? You're gonna
Wow.
say I'm like Noah, right? Aren't you?
Mm, No, because that Noah would have given him his real number. And
That
I
is
think
true.
Yep.
that
That is true. That is true.
Right.
That is true.
Absolutely.
That is true. But it did lead to an unfriending, which I think is was
probably
for the
what needed to
best.
happen. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So,
Hmm.
God bless that young man. I hope he's doing well, and I hope he's figured his sexuality, and he's married with four beautiful children or something. I don't know.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know.
I was
I
about to
don't
say, is
know.
that?
I have no idea.
Wishing
I
all this
don't.
responsibility and expense on this man.
I don't know what he want. Well, it would serve him right for playing with people the way he did.
I mean, he'd have
Well,
to be a kingpin to afford four children in this
and this
current
account?
child.
Well, the way he was going around town thoughting and bopping, he probably has four children from somebody, so.
Also, I need you to know that nobody's going to let it go that you were dressed like a baggie of Coke.
No,
We are
never
going
letting
to
it go.
unpack this at some point,
It was a
by the way.
great it was actually a very great costume. It was
Wow.
brilliant because me and my best friend Russ, we were going to a Halloween party that night. So it was the day in DC of the rally to restore sanity. Do we remember that with Jon Stewart?
Uh-uh.
So every millennial in town was down on the mall. And so we were just like, well, we're just gonna go to the Red Derby and just like have brunch. And we ended up like drinking mimosas all day and playing Scrabble. And then we were like, oh shit, we have this party later on. And we don't have costumes. So we rolled into the Target, drunk off mimosas, and I just saw those giant Ziploc bags, they're like person size that you're supposed to technically use for like moving.
Oh, yeah.
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 And I was like, well,
Okay.
what if we just cut armholes and leg holes and then different color tissue paper? So I had the white tissue paper and he had the green tissue paper. And then our friend John just put on a hoodie and sunglasses and was pushing us into people
Oh
at the
my
party all
God.
night.
Oh my gosh. gosh.
It was brilliant. It was very well done.
You think you know a person.
You do.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
babe.
It's funny. And as we were walking to the party, we walked past a cop car, and one of the cops leaned down and was like, "What is your costume, sir?" And I just said, "It's controversial." And then we all had a good laugh.
I was about to
Oh,
say something so inappropriate.
Please do.
I'm so glad I caught myself.
Say it, say it.
I'll tell you after we turn the show off. When I said it was so inappropriate, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a good 13.
Oh, okay.
oh,
Well, there
okay.
you go. All right. Well, let's not get this show canceled
Yeah.
Could
like
save it for
Noah's Ark.
Patreon.
Right.
Yes, save it
Oh,
for Patreon.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Put it behind the paywall.
But enough about me and my misbegotten youth.
Wow. That's just such a that's the probably the broiest kind of thing I've heard from you,
hmm
honestly. That's why it's
hmm
making me laugh.
hmm
I'm like, what in the American Pie is going on in this story?
Well, I mean, yeah, broy, but it was also like rather crafty, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just
absolutely.
I'm just
Absolutely.
saying. I'm just saying.
hmm
Anyway, but back to Noah's Ark. I guess we'll just start at the beginning of episode 7, which is the aftermath of Noah's getting attacked at the gas station. He is in the hospital. Everyone runs to the hospital. They will not let Alex or Chance or Ricky or Quincy in to see him. And the nurse says, well, his boyfriend is already there. And of course, who's in there with him?
His
Mhm.
boyfriend. Yeah.
His boyfriend.
hmm
Precisely.
hmm
There were no
Wade.
lies.
No
hmm
No
Wade.
lies detected.
At all.
Nope.
And so they all bring Noah home. He is injured. He has a sprained wrist and some bruised ribs.
He was really lucky that was all it was, because the way they were
Hmm.
whipping on that
Yeah.
ass, I was
Hmm.
worried he was going to be like in a coma or something.
Absolutely. I mean, they
Same.
were going
They're
for it.
stomping on him and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. So it's very scary, but apparently the assailants have been apprehended. They are considering, the DA, I guess, is considering bringing hate crime charges against these 3 young men. And Quincy is on a crusade.
Oh my God, it was so
Yeah.
annoying.
Activist Bay was doing way too
He
much.
was
Yeah,
doing the most.
Like, when's the
absolutely.
last time you even asked Noah how he feels?
Right. I mean, that was the thing for me. It was Noah was so clearly uncomfortable and had also expressed in a different context that they never wanted to be like the avatar for abuse against queer people. So it was weird that Quincy couldn't let it go. Like it was just very weird and uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, and it was also just kind of sad because it was like, just be with your boyfriend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just sit down and like hold him.
yeah.
And it's like, it's, of course it's wonderful he has this community of friends who is there to be there. But like, I don't know, if you're gonna be his partner. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And that's
Mhm.
why that scene was so interesting to me, because that's where it became clear, like really, really clear, that Quincy wasn't the right one for
Right.
Noah. Whether
Mhm.
you're rooting for Noah and Wade or not, like Noah was not ready for that relationship.
Absolutely not. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't think Noah's ready for any relationship, but that's
No,
another
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
clearly. Just a relationship
that's
with a
another conversation.
therapist who likes a challenge.
Oh my goodness, a therapist that likes to play on hard mode.
Oh
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Yeah, Noah needs to be single.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I agree that Quincy made me a little uncomfortable. And I was like, how much do you just like the idea of Noah? You
Yep.
know,
You
like
know.
I think you like Noah as a vibe.
Hmm.
Maybe not as a person, because also you would have seen some red flags too if you was
Thank you.
looking at Noah as a person.
Like open them peepers. Like I mean, because Quincy is clearly what, mid to late 30s or whatever. So like there is no sense that he shouldn't have been able to pick up on this boy is very clearly still in love with his ex. Like they're
Right.
like who isn't seeing that?
It's obvious.
It's
It's obvious.
obvious. But maybe it's just like us as viewers.
Yeah.
And it's not like these are real people, of course, but like
Aren't they?
Right.
but I guess it reminds me of the conversation we had last time where, they were having the conversation about how, you know, Noah does not want to be sort of the face of the particular movement of, diversifying Hollywood and so on and so forth. Um, and I'm just thinking, when we were talking about like, well, sometimes, something happens to you, the fickle finger of fate points to you, and you have to sort of stand up in that moment, and it's something bigger than you. Still stand by that, but I just think in this case, like, you know, that could have been something that, if Noah had expressed that he wanted to do, that he wanted Quincy to do, that would be one thing, right? But I
Right.
just feel like, if I was in that situation and Dennis was like going on TV every chance that he got and like was leaving me in the care of people who were not him, I would not be okay with that. I would have some feelings about that. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was actively an issue and one that I think they did to me that bit of characterization was one of the more successful
Yes.
ones because I think the idea of what Quincy was trying to do, and as you're pointing out, Paige, like somebody being very much into the idea of someone, because I feel like Noah was also really guilty of that throughout the
Hmm.
series, and I like that the way they flipped it. Excuse me, and I also want to say Keith Hamilton Cobb, who played Quincy, is a really, really good actor, and I
He
think
is.
he brought a lot of nuance to the approach. So Quincy never came off as a bad guy. He never came off as anything other than really smart and really good looking. So you also wanted it to work out. And it was kind of sad that like I don't know, Noah's a little too frivolous to have that kind of a grown-up relationship and Quincy was probably a little too focused on his careers and causes to be able to see that
Yeah.
clearly.
I mean, I think that's sort of what I'm just trying to get at. Just how sad it was that like he could not see the forest for the trees. Like
Yeah.
the cause was and I would imagine that if Quincy was sitting here and we were having a conversation with him about it, he'd be like, "Well, it I did all of that because I loved him, because I wanted to put
Hmm.
his story out there front and
Hmm.
center and get him justice." And I think he said that at some point. Because Ricky was like, "You just want to be on TV," and he was like, "No, I just want justice." But it's like, no, okay, there's the cause, but there's also this person
Yeah.
in front of you
Yeah.
who needs you in a much different and smaller way.
But that was the thing, right? Because Noah didn't need him.
No,
And
precisely.
and
Yeah.
that was like the complicating factor in all of this because it was, kind of I feel like when Wade shows up at that emergency room, wherever Dre is, whatever Dre is doing, like there, I am sure that doesn't appear in Wade's head either,
At
right?
all.
And so, like, the other question I have, which I feel like is the flip side of this coin, what's going on with Dre, who I also feel like is a really interesting character, we didn't get enough of him because he was only meant to be a plot device, right? But like there was something very interesting about him, in my opinion, because of the way that he knew how to deal with Noah, which I still think was the right way. Because for me, it really exposed what Noah was up to. If his point was to show that, hey, Wade, your ex is still very much in love with you, has feelings for you, and will sabotage this relationship the first chance they get. I think Dre did a brilliant job of bringing that up, bringing that out. And unfortunately, he ended up with the short end of the stick, but I
He
guess he was one of the
did.
people who needed to see it because he seemed cool to me. He didn't seem like a bad person, or he was certainly easy on the eyes, right? So I don't think he'd have a hard time finding somebody else, but I don't know. I just find that character really interesting because it's such a specific place to be when two characters so clearly belong together and you're just a great option on the side.
I mean, I was thinking about Dre, like when Wade's in the hospital, and then B, he's at Noah's apartment, quote
Yeah,
unquote, taking care of him
yeah.
literally all night long.
All night long. All
Like,
night long.
I'm so sorry. Like, you come home the next day, we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
Where the fuck were you all night?
If you have been out all night with your ex, we actually don't need to have a conversation. You
No.
actually don't need to come home. Like a thing
Your
has
stuff
shifted.
will be on the porch. The locks will be changed.
On fire.
Thank
It
you
is
so much.
trash.
Thank you so much. Your services are no longer needed.
Yeah, you are going to discover some things about that legendary icing that happens with Aquarians. The quickness with which I will forget that I ever knew you, if I have any reason to think that is what you were up to.
Yes, you will learn what mutable fire means. I'm just saying.
Listen,
With all the love in the world.
All the
don't push a
love.
Sagittarius there. Don't push a Sagittarius there.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Absolutely not. But I mean, I suppose we should mention the main event,
Yeah.
which is while Wade is over there taking care of quote unquote Mr. Noah, they fall into the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All those bruised and cracked ribs were just fine all of a sudden.
Oh, hello. Well, I was like, doesn't this, I know this hurts. I know
Well,
it
and that's the th like
maybe
Wade
that's
was
just
like,
what
I
you're
don't want to
into,
hurt
but it
you.
has to hurt.
Well, Wade was like, I don't want to hurt you, and he was like, you could never hurt me, and I was like,
But that's a lie.
girl, you were in the hospital not 24 hours ago.
Maybe this is it. Noah is a masochist and we figured this
Yeah.
out. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Hmm.
That's what it is. I solved it.
Well, Wade clearly is too.
Absolutely. Why are y'all doing this? I just kept yelling no at the screen.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
and
no.
for all the ways for them to address what clearly needed to be addressed, why that was okay, and also not to get like super ahead in the recap, but why they were okay with with it happening more than once. Like that was the part that got me. It was like, okay, so let's say this first time is about the irresolution to your relationship. Okay, got that. So then what was the second time in the porta potty about?
Which is also just nasty.
Nasty, real
Just
nasty.
Nasty.
ew,
Right.
ew.
Didn't even lock the damn door.
On Gay Beach Day. Are you
Right.
crazy? You don't know what's
So
up in there.
I was about to say, what were they really trying to get into? I mean, that's and poor, stupid, non-driving Dre.
Hey, oh my gosh. I they don't address the aftermath enough for me at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
I would have loved to be just a fly on the wall for more of Dre and Wade's conversations. I want to know what was making Dre feel like he wanted to propose.
Right, right.
I was confused about how we
Because
got there. I
because the
don't know how we
scene
got there.
because the scene before that we saw between Wade and Dre was Dre saying like asking him, "Are you still in love with him? You're still in love with him, aren't you?"
Right.
So how do you go from that to I'm gonna propose to him? Because for me, it would have been like, you're still in love with him, so we're not together anymore. Please get your shit and get out of my house.
That was the thing that's so needed, like so needed to happen, right? And because I feel like what we really needed was like at least one scene with Quincy and Dre so that we could, one, we'd see a little bit more of their friendship, but I think we would have gotten some of the interiority of Dre to make some of these decisions make sense because you have to assume this is a last ditch, very desperate effort to keep the relationship going. But we don't even get that much to know if that's really what he was doing or if he's completely clueless, which doesn't track based on how clever he seems in the first two episodes of the season.
Yeah, he's not dumb
No,
at
not even a
all.
little bit. And what's going on isn't hard to see
No.
either. I mean, they went out of their way to make sure that we see Noah and Wade giving each other goo goo eyes every single chance they get, even when they're giving angry goo goo eyes, which is even worse. Like,
And then I'm just like, with Noah, like, okay, so you all, make beautiful love, you know, the, you know, your relationship was left unresolved, which actually I don't agree with because like you cheated on him and Wade left you. So that seems pretty resolved to me. But anyway, um, but then of course Wade does not talk to him for 2 weeks. So what are you doing, Noah? Because there's your answer right there. Just go let him be with Dre and let Dre deal with all that. Like the whole
What
thing
was
is
Noah
just
doing? Oh.
the whole thing is just so messy.
it completely is because it also shows how much of their going back and forth was for play.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they brought in at least three other people because Noah had that first boyfriend at the beginning of the season with the beautiful
Mm-hmm.
hair, right? So like there was all of this happening in the background when the two of them like just so clearly needed to sit down and have a conversation about forgiveness because they were going to forgive each other. They did forgive each other and they wanted to move on with each other, right? And again, to me, this is the difference between watching a show about people in their 20s and watching a show about people in their 40s, where they either would have been like, you know what, I'm good. We went around and it wasn't worth salvaging, or they just would have sat down and had a normal conversation and figured some things out. But no, we had to have a whole season.
No, but these two characters are clearly like completely incapable of doing that. Like they couldn't even
Yeah,
have a conversation about like, you living in my space for 2 weeks while
right,
your apartment's getting fumigated.
right.
So we're not gonna have a whole conversation about forgiveness and love and what that actually means and yada yada yada.
Which is weird because they're both writers. Like they literally construct conversations for a living. And except when they're talking to each other, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. What do they talk about with each other? I really want to know. Because why there's just so little clarity, it seems, about
Yeah.
each other's boundaries, about what actually,
Expectations.
right,
Hmm.
expectations. Yeah, I want to know what they actually communicate about.
Be
Is it just vibes?
I think it is. I really do think it is because every conversation that we have seen between the two of them has been about nothing, basically,
Hmm.
or anger.
Hmm.
Yeah.
has either
Hmm.
been frustrated, has it has either been about frustration or has been just about vibes.
Hmm.
That's their whole relationship. They haven't really
So,
gotten into anything deep. Like, I mean, remember, like, Wade wanted to propose to Noah
Oh, I remember
during the
that.
first
I
season.
remember that.
It was
Yeah.
very Drake-coded.
So can we just talk for a second? Because I think will want to move on to Ricky soon
Oh,
enough.
Lord.
But
yeah.
I kind of want to just talk a little bit about maybe the decision. The last couple of minutes where we see, okay, so Wade and Noah are in the porta potty. They are actively engaged in sexual relations. Dre walks in, sees it. There's a very brief confrontation, and he, sort of like runs out of the bathroom. Not even running, like it's a very weird, lumbering kind of walk out of the bathroom to
He
to
Frankenstein's out of the
it
bathroom.
it was very Frankenstein-y. And then he gets in that ugly little car and tells Wade, if I ever meant anything to you, you get your black ass in this car. And then they drive off. And then there's a terrible accident. They end up flipping over the car. Um, Wade is thrown from the car. Dre is still in the car. Nobody seems to be super pressed about him. And Noah and his ragtag band of friends encounter the flipped over car. So like that's where it ends. The series just ends right there. Just out of curiosity, what do y'all think we're supposed to take from that ending? Other than, the show wasn't renewed and they really thought it would be.
Hmm.
Because that's a very specific way to end that. And I've always just kind of been curious about why it had to be that and not any other anything.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know I'm asking you to read somebody's mind that you don't know, but it but it's also it was a little out of tone with this is generally a light show, right? Like you have the gay
Hmm.
Yeah.
bashing, but like
Yes.
this is not this is us. You don't expect this kind of a turn on the show. So I've always just been so curious about how it lands with other people because it's so heavy in a show that didn't have that kind of heavy moment very frequently.
Hmm. I guess I didn't read it that way.
Oh, how'd you read it? I'd love to know.
I don't know. I feel like the last half of this season, or maybe even just like the last like three episodes, really took this turn, this very sharp turn into melodrama.
Mhm. Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
like kind of soap operatic,
mhm,
heightened life
mhm,
and death sort of stakes.
mhm,
Like with the secret lesbians and
mhm.
and the gay bashing and
Mhm,
now this, life or death car accident, we
mhm,
don't know what's going to happen. So I just kind of felt like I felt like the first season was much lighter.
mhm,
And one of the things that I was thinking about during the ball scene
mhm,
was that this is one of the things that I missed from the first season, where it felt like they were part of like a larger community, and we got to see some of that a little bit
mhm,
more. Like they were going to like the bars and they were going to gay nights, and it
mhm,
felt like a little more Sex in the City, whereas the second season felt a little bit more contained and
mhm.
operatic, and I'm sure that had something to do with filming in Vancouver rather than
Yeah,
LA
yeah.
and, you
Um,
know, budget and all sorts of stuff. I get it. But there's just a definite shift in tone. And
Mhm,
so I thought like it made sense in that way where it's just sort of like, okay, so it's like this heightened soap opera, soapy sort of thing. Um, but I also just thought it was kind of strange.
mhm.
Because I'm just like, okay, so what happened? Were they fighting and Dre was so overcome with emotion that he veered off the road, or was had Dre been drinking? And we're just supposed to I would assume if there was a third season, then it
Mhm.
would have been like the tables have turned and
Right.
Noah is taking care of Wade as he recovers from this car accident. I'm assuming they would have killed Dre off.
That's rough.
Or maybe he would have come back like halfway through the season. They all thought he was dead. And then he popped up. Or he had an evil twin.
I kind of hate you for like taking us to Port Charles, but I do. I,
I was thinking Pine Valley, but okay.
but that has me wondering, right? Like, because to your point about the turn to melodrama, I think we're saying the same thing, even though I appreciate your saying maybe it was the entire third act of the season. I just wonder why? Because 2 episodes ago we were talking about I'm gonna throw you out on your get 'em girl draws, and then all of a sudden it is all of this. It just felt like the show got so much heavier. And if you are going to kill off Dre so that Wade and Noah can be together, then why? I don't know. I'm putting on my dramaturg hat and like just actually trying to figure out like was there a bigger meaning he was trying to take us to? Was the point there's something cosmic about Wade and Noah? The universe will bring them together even if they pull themselves apart. Like I have
Oh, I
really been
see what
trying
you're
to,
saying. Okay.
yeah, like if a writer makes a choice, like there was clearly a choice made, and I've always just really wondered why it was that one, like where we were supposed to go with it.
I
And
see.
I wish we had some answers.
I guess I just wasn't thinking that it was that deep.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
don't
you're
think,
probably right. You're
because
you're you're probably exactly right.
I
Yeah.
don't think that Wade and Noah, all with all due respect to Michael Ian Polk, have earned
Patrick Ian
cosmic
Polk.
love, cosmic love status. That's not where I go when I think of Noah and Wade. But Paige, what do you think?
I mean, my mind did go to it definitely went to the why immediately. Like, why would this be why would this be where we leave off? And I did think about this maybe this crash happened some way of bringing Noah and Wade even closer together. But I didn't go to like the cosmic in the cosmic sense, more in the oh, now there's another kind of shared, I guess, tragedy. I'm like, this is the second. Why is this another near death experience? Why
Mhm.
I was asking myself that. Why another near death experience that um each character is having and um is both they're both kind of part of each other's experience. Um and so I was like, is this gonna be a near death experience putting things into perspective for Wade kind of thing, and now decides he wants to be with Noah and can't keep lying to Dre, but what if Dre's not even alive? Yeah, I was like, what purpose is this going to serve? Pretty sure it was going to serve bringing Noah and Wade back together, not in a cosmic way though. Just a damn, we're more attached through trauma.
Or maybe like Noah thinks that this is going to bring them together, but like actually Dre is alive and Wade feels an
Ooh.
obligation to stay with him and take
Ooh.
care of him because this is all his fault because he had sex with Noah in the porta potty and yada yada yada. And then like it's another season of will they, won't they?
Hmm. I love that
Mm.
we have all like come to very different reads on that particular style of cliffhanger. Because to me it still feels very I don't know, like the idea of I am moving on from this person, and then you have this really strong physical connection, and but like you almost just died, and then they almost just died. Like I feel like it would be like a very specific kind of a brain fuck, but yeah, I mean, who knows? And th when the movie picks up, and there's that movie Jumping the Broom comes out 3 years later. It seemingly just picks up 3 years later. Like there is a whole lot of stuff that clearly happened in those 3 years, and we get no sense of it. Like characters are either on to just like their new challenges or just curious lack of memory of 3 years ago where everybody was. I don't know. Like this is a head scratcher for me. The way the show ends and then the way the subsequent pieces pick up have always caused me to be so curious
Hmm.
about the broader like what else was happening and specifically why the film picks up on certain threads. And sorry to people who may find the way my brain is jumbled. It's really confusing. But for instance, on that last episode, Alex and Trey talk about adoption. In the movie, when the movie happens, they have adopted. So like that storyline continues, but like there's not even a line to my memory where Wade is like, "Oh wow, y'all remember the day I flipped my car over and killed my ex?" Like there is none of that. And I kind of feel like that might be a a thing, right? Like mightn't it?
I mean, maybe. I
Maybe.
don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. I'm
maybe it's the type of thing that, 3 years later they want to forget.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah, but
know.
we really
It's
do not get
strange.
answers.
But
We
yeah,
really don't.
apparently it sounds like we don't get answers. Now I am fascinated though to watch the movie to see all of the answers that we don't get because I have so many questions. And I guess it sounds like in the movie because, we just need to talk about this real quick. Ricky.
yeah,
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 Ricky.
yeah.
Ricky. Because it sounds like in the movie Ricky's still a fuckboy.
Oh, child, is
Yeah.
he?
And that man, I can't. I cannot. So first
Ricky
of
has some complex trauma going on or
Yes,
something.
he
I wrote
yes, he
does.
down,
does.
my notes are like, what happened?
Yeah. Because it
That's
comes out of
that's what's
It
going
comes out of
on.
nowhere.
literally nowhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally out of nowhere. He all of a sudden is, having a casual dalliance with a young man who's at the clinic. And then he's just like, and I want Janito to have sex with someone else too. And then goes online, arranges for Janito to have a date, backfires because it turns out Janito likes this person. And
Mhm.
Janito's like, I don't want to have sex with anyone else. But turns out he likes this guy. And then at beach day, Ricky catches them making out and then breaks up with Janito in the nastiest way.
The nastiest way possible.
So that I mean, I thought when he broke up with Janito the first time, it was very nasty, making
Yeah.
him walk in on him
Mhm.
having sex with some dude in his store, unprofessional. Um, but this was very nasty in a way that
Yeah.
there is no coming back from at
And
all.
Mm.
and also like it to me, Ricky is the character that gets the best arc in the show, probably because the show didn't continue long enough for the bigger issues to get sorted. But this is so characteristic of Ricky's behavior. Everything tracked, and as problematic as it was, I really felt like that thing that Junito says to Ricky on the beach about when you sort of open a relationship up, you also open up to the possibility of connecting better with
Mm.
somebody else. I feel like
Mm.
that moment of consequence, it was so important for Ricky. And also that line ricocheted in my head for a really, really long time, right? Because it was a different time and place, and conversations around polyamory were a bit different then. Because I feel like even conversations around polyamory were really about how do we make this work within a monogamous context. It was a very bizarre time, but
Yeah.
I really I really liked what Junito said and how he said it. Because I feel like Ricky is just a character just absolutely has to grow up. Like he has to grow up. The decision making, it is like he doesn't even have an inner saboteur. Like he is just the saboteur of any number of things. And it's wild to see somebody, even a fictional character, like moving through their own life with that kind of sledgehammer approach to his own feelings. It's almost alarming. If this weren't a comedy, like I think I'd be really disturbed from watching Ricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's disturbing, comedy or not. And it's also just so interesting because it's juxtaposed with like his behavior earlier when Noah first gets out of the hospital and he's so caring and he's so concerned
Mhm.
and he's so loving and so tender. And they have that moment where he is just, crying and saying, I've never really told you what you mean to me, Noah, and I love you. I love you so much. And it's like, so he's capable of that sort of depth of feeling. But then, like, watching him with Janito, who is somebody who he supposedly was so in love with, and they went through all of these trials and tribulations and came out on the other side and, whatever for him to just not be able to give that same sort of energy to this romantic relationship and then like break up with him brutally and then, Chance is saying like, do you want to just maybe take like 10 seconds to mourn your relationship? And he's like, no, mourning time's over. And like he's like, fuck Janito. I'm glad he's out of my life. Da 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 da. And it doesn't, the way that the actor is playing it, it does not seem like he's just saying that to like save face. It really did feel like he really didn't give a shit and he wanted it to be over.
Huh. So I definitely read that.
You read that
I read
differently?
it very differently. No, I
Okay.
mean I thought it was
Mhm.
Ricky's typical deflection, right? Like because to me the thing it's so much easier to say what Ricky said to Noah because Noah is a friend, right? And I think it's easier for him to repose all of those emotions on that kind of relationship that's not asking you to give all of yourself to just one person forever. And I think that was the thing that was, to me, that was the thing that was always scaring Ricky. Like he clearly wanted to to give himself completely to Janito, and it was just terrifying him. And that like every single time where his feelings would be like, oh, I'm ready to do this thing, his other feelings would kick in and be like, ah, I gotta get out of here by hook or by crook. So let me do something completely ridiculous. Um, so yeah, I didn't believe him when he said it because to me it fits in a different pattern of behavior.
Yeah, I felt the same way. To me, it's like Ricky was just really terrified the whole time of letting Janito be like close enough to possibly hurt him.
Mhm.
Um, and so Ricky just do not want to be hurt. Clearly, does not want to be vulnerable. Is very very scared. And so I think in that moment at the beach and after seeing Janito kiss yeah, the dude he was dating, I think Ricky was like, what is this feeling? Hurt? Did you did you just hurt? Am I feeling jealous? Oh hell no. Like, and I think he just wants to push that away as much as possible, make it anything else. If it meant being mean, if it meant acting like he didn't care, anything besides feeling that.
But I
Yeah.
get, yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you completely. But it did feel to me that, like, he has that thing, like that, I don't know, Aquarius moon thing, where it's just like he just ice and he doesn't care. I don't think he actually does care. I think he cared for that split second and he was like, oh shit, oh no, I care. All right, nope, can't have that. Don't care anymore. Get out of my life. Like it's just and it's just scary. It's like sociopathic. It's just
The reason I don't think it's sociopathic though is because it is such a specific stimulus every time. And it's not a
Mm.
stimulus that if you legitimately didn't care, then the stimuli wouldn't push you to these reactions, right? Like it would be a little bit more like, oh, yeah, I brought this boy home, Janito, and whatever Janito's reaction was, like it wouldn't even have been that conversation worthy, as opposed to kind of like launching him like in such a almost furious way. Like he wasn't emotion free at all when
He
he was saying
wasn't. You're
it.
correct. You are correct. Yes.
But I do think that we're supposed to take up. I really always think of Noah and Wade as being these two characters that they use to mirror a kind of behavior with very different consequences because they're both so selfish. But there is some kind of emotional trauma that I think Ricky has suffered that makes him even less available than Noah, right? Because I think Noah's problem maybe is that they're too available. Like, I mean, they sort of go head first, willy-nilly into any kind of relationship with the man. And then it's only months in that they stop and even pause and think, oh, I never even thought this through. I don't know if I like you or not. Like,
Because like it goes back to what Quincy said when Noah broke up with him, and he was like, "You just make men fall in love with you, and then you're sorry." And it's like, yeah, that's exactly it.
I'll say as just like a little plug for the Rona Chronicles, anybody who's going to watch them. Also to the movie. The movie features Wade's mom, played by the
Oh,
incomparable stage actress Tanya Pinkins,
oh,
and
okay.
Rona Chronicles features Noah's family, and we also get an
Mm,
appearance from Titus Burgess as a relation to Alex, which I think is kind of brilliant
yes,
casting on
that's
like 50 different levels.
yes.
Um, and Junito is not in the movie, but he is in Rona Chronicles. So there, whatever the issue with Ricky and Junito is, like it doesn't seem like it's sorted itself 15 years later. Like they are still circling each other's orbit, which again, I wonder if that's some kind of commentary on cosmic,
Cosmic.
people who are just drawn to each other, who are just supposed to be together, or if Junito isn't as crazy as Ricky is.
Hmm. Can I ask a question that might be inappropriate?
Go for it. Of course.
So one thing to not get into top and bottom discourse or politics, but I did notice when
Porta
uh
potty.
no. But also but when Ricky brings the guy off of Grinder or whatever existed in 2006, however, Craigslist, however we were finding our
Black
internet,
Planet.
Black Planet, there you go. Um, he said to Janito, "Oh, he's a total bottom. Don't worry. Bye, have fun." Did that strike anyone else as interesting? Because I was under the impression that Ricky was quite the top.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that that's I think what he was saying. Like my impression was that it's not a versatile relationship. So this was like a gift that he was giving
Oh,
to
I see.
Janita was how I read that.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
okay.
Got you. Got you.
Got you, got you.
Mhm.
Because I was thinking maybe Ricky was so upset and hurt and weird about it because he had been bottoming for, but what you said makes a lot more sense.
I actually do think part of the politics of the show that they like alluded to a little bit, but never got into to the extent that I would have been really interested is in that idea around, you know, sexual role, personal expression, relationship roles, and sort of what that space looks like, specifically for very masculine presenting Black men who may be newer to queer relationships or, queer circles, because I also noticed that when they're showing Noah and Wade having sex in the bathroom, that they make a point to show them flipping. And I really also took from that we're supposed to see like Wade submitting to the relationship or submitting to his sexuality in a way that we haven't seen before. And that's supposed to feel like a flip for us, right? That Noah and Wade aren't just this completely ridiculous pair of people, but instead there really is something very profound and very beautiful happening between them. And the first time I watched the series, that landed in a way that felt like it had more profundity than when I was watching this time around, that I couldn't quite get out of. Your boyfriend is going to walk in any second. You suck. But I do think that we're supposed to see something very beautiful in that exchange. And I do think it was very much paralleled with that comment from Ricky to Junito. Like again,
Hmm.
my dramaturg hat may be on really, really firmly right now, but I do think that they were setting that up for us to take certain takeaways for these characters and where they were in these relationships, and why one dysfunctional relationship is about to start working and the other dysfunctional relationship is about to fall apart.
Oh, okay. Dramaturg.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm using my master's degree. Can't, I'm still paying on it, so I may as well use it.
Oh my God, you should write a whole paper, the politics of topping and bottoming and popular television discourse. I don't know. I don't have a
Actually,
title yet,
You
but
but
really should.
you may be giving me my spring project, because that actually would be a really fun paper to
I
write.
think so. Sexual roles
Yes.
in popular culture, in popular gay
Yeah.
culture, in popular gay
Yeah.
black culture.
Do
Yeah.
it.
Done. The people demand it, so I'll give the people what they want.
I'm
We need
trying to
it for
read
the
it.
culture.
I want to
Hmm.
know. I want to know what you find out.
More soon, audience.
Yes, yes, more soon. But while we wait on that, I think we have to close this chapter
You do.
of the score and Noah's Ark. I'm really gonna miss this.
Me
Me
too.
too. I know for sure I will go back and watch this series. It is going to be a
Hey.
favorite. It will be a rewatch. It has been delightful and messy
So
and
messy. But yes, thank you, Lee, for bringing this into our lives.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so, so much for coming on this journey of revisiting one of my all-time favorite shows. Like I so love this show. And even in moments where it probably seems like I'm being strangely critical of some minor nuance, it's because I like the show enough that like even the placement of props on a table is a thing that I'm going to notice and think about. So yeah, this was such a pleasure, and I hope we can find another show that I love just as much to continue to talk about.
Well, I think we are going to continue this episode recap journey and we'll figure out what our next show is and we'll let everyone know. But it'll be, of course, something that you all can watch along with us, something that will be easily accessible, and hopefully not too expensive because I know that we had to pay for subscriptions and things
Mhm, child.
for Noah's Ark. But we'll figure that out and we'll let everyone know. But until then, I guess remember love.
Great little song by Adriana Evans. It's available on iTunes for anybody who just wants to listen to the entire version. It's been one of my favorite songs since I discovered it wasn't just a 30-second theme song, but an actual 4-minute track that is well sung and beautifully produced.
Oh, well, all right.
Oh, thank you.
Well, what a fun, exciting chapter in our score history. I think I would score that as a success. And we will be right back with a little bit of pure black joy. boy doing the ghetto dances, taking crazy chances. Okay, it's still it's still in my head. All right, we are back, ladies and germs, with Pure Black Joy. This is our segment where we talk about some Black people, music, art, culture, food, places, all the Black things that are making us happy this week. And this week's Pure Black Joy comes from Dr. Lee Bynum. Dr. Lee Bynum, take it away.
Thank you. So this one I am digging deep into my grad school bag of tricks for. But some of you may know, I don't know, actually, none of you may know. Why would anybody know this? A big part of what I was researching during my PhD was political censorship um, in educational spaces and how comic books were utilized in that particular moment, really looking at like the 40s and 50s and 60s because I love comic books. And I especially love comic books that are about or by people of color. And there is a new show coming to Disney Plus called Ironheart. It is based on a comic book of the same name. Those of you who watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever may remember that amazing actress named Dominique Thorne played a character called Ironheart, who's obviously like an Iron Man style character. She was this incredible genius, and it was saving her life that killed Angela Bassett's character, but we are holding nothing against her. But at any rate, this is coming to Disney Plus June 24th. The series was created by a Black woman named Chinaka Hodge, and it's based on a comic book also called Ironheart, which is written by a Black woman named Eve Ewing. I knew Eve in grad school. She was
Mm.
a grad student I believe at Chicago. She went to Harvard and Chicago. I just can't remember anymore in the right order. But she's absolutely brilliant, a really lovely, pleasant person, and an educational sociologist. And I love the idea of, a well-trained Black academic woman writing a comic book in this space where comics are still so undiverse in terms of their writing staff and frequently their subject matter. But at any rate, it should be a really interesting show. I love that Marvel has created these two characters in Ironheart and Shuri, where essentially the two smartest people in the universe are young Black women, which is probably accurate. But y'all should watch the show because it also stars Anthony Ramos from the In the Heights movie, Lyric Ross, Cree Summer, late of both A Different World and Abbott Elementary, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Shea Coulee. It should be a
Oh.
very, very good time. So I will see y'all in June, and you better be watching because it's going to be a good show.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I will be there. I will be
Oh, good.
present for that.
We'll all be set.
I
Well,
was so excited to see Ironheart in the second Black Panther movie. I screamed a little bit when she came on screen. I did not know that she would be part of the movie. I intentionally didn't like look at spoilers. And so I just love that the world will get more of her as a character. I love it. Yay.
well, I guess now y'all got me watching Fiction Child.
Worth it. I think it's fiction you'll like. Don't you want to watch this Black Girl Genius
Yeah, of
stuff?
course. That sounds
Yeah.
wonderful. That sounds
Mhm.
delightful. And Lord knows we need more of that in the world right now.
How about it? I mean, to me, there's something really important about watching a show like this. The character is also a student at MIT, right? In the same moment where our government is literally dismantling the protections that we have around education and all of the pieces that have allowed more women, more people of color, more human beings to go to college, to be educated, to expand their outlooks, to make better opportunities for their family. Like this education still matters, right? Irrespective of what they're telling you. So if I have to get it from a comic book TV show, I'll take that because somewhere we need to be communicating around why it's actually useful to society for people to know more than they do.
Mm.
And it's a shame we have
Amen.
to advocate for this. Like it's actually sad.
Well, you don't have to tell me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I would imagine you don't have to tell our listeners.
Yeah. Because if you thought that way, you probably wouldn't be listening to this
I'm
show.
just saying.
I
I'm
know.
just saying.
Right.
But thank you for listening. We're so happy that you're
Yes.
here.
Yay, thanks.
And we love you all so much. As always, thank you for letting us come into your ear holes. And
Oh God.
I'll never get over that. I just think it's so funny.
Keeping it.
But but yes, no, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. As always, you can support us by giving us 5 stars wherever you're listening and leaving us a little review with some words, telling your friends all about the show, and of course, hitting that subscribe button and telling your friends to do the same. Um, all of the pertinent links to all of our social media is in the show notes. If you want to reach out to us, the Score Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. I think that's everything other than any words of wisdom. Anybody?
Yeah. Support Black and queer artists wherever you are and wherever we are.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And I would suggest everyone maybe just go and look at what is happening right now in Texas concerning this sweeping abortion legislation that will have ramifications on literally everyone in this country if we allow it to pass, which unfortunately it probably will. But I think maybe just go read up on that because it's very, very scary.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but not to leave you on such a downer note, I'm so sorry. But we will be back in 2 weeks with some very exciting news concerning our
Mhm.
Dr. Lee Bynum and a
Mhm.
very exciting conversation that
Mhm.
we're going to have. But until then, everyone be easy. We love you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.